Minecraft Season 8 of PTR Earth Minecraft. Now, a lot of you guys will be saying, Raider Knight, what did you do in Season 8? I decided to go back to my roots and play as Bosnia. Now, obviously, things weren't exactly going great off the bat. We were kind of in a, kind of a state of poverty, I would say. Granted, we did get tools pretty quickly, but it still took us quite the grind to even get diamond in PTR Season 8. I did realize a flaw though in the system. Obsidian was going for like $1,000 per block, and I decided to myself it was time to farm the nether portal frames, and I made like 50k probably in an hour. I was popping off and I became the richest player on the server very, very quickly. No, we started out small though. We started out with quite the setup very early on, and I was already basically the strongest player on the server in like a matter of hours. I flattened out my world and I built a wall around my great kingdom, and the wall would serve to be the foundation of the Bosnian base, essentially, in this world. I had big goals. I had goals to reach the ceiling, to hit the sky limit with this wall, to make sure that nobody could ever break through my wall due to the townie system being pretty hard to get through things like this. I gazed upon my land and I knew that this was truly the start of a new era. I began the grinding of potions, and I was doing pretty well until I decided I wanted to play more on the Waddle SMP for a bit. I kind of ditched PTR Season 8 for quite a while and didn't really play on it for about a week or so, because I kind of grinded up so much and I was like, I'm good. I also planted like a lot of these vines around my base, which would actually serve to be really cool. If you guys are playing like on a townie server where the only real way to like break through walls is like cannons from Movecraft, which I guess that's like really specific, but the vines are pretty overpowered, I will say that. Like they'll just keep growing, and like it's like basically regenerating wall in a sense. So the vines was actually a really good tactic that I actually started using. Now, there was this guy to the north of me named Inderlocus, who was basically the ruler of Austria. Obviously, me being Bosnia, I was pretty close to this guy, and he seemed like he was not the brightest, necessarily. So we did some trolling, we grinded up gear. I was basically a god on this server, and I just decided to call it quits. I just kind of just messed around and kept expanding the wall. That was really all I did on this server at this point. For some reason, deathcow, which is the owner of this server, decided to change the price of sponge to $10,000. I don't know what could have prompted it. Maybe like trolling or something. Maybe it's like somebody was trolling with the sponge in the past. I just don't really see why somebody would raise the price of sponge though. I don't really know the history behind it, but I mean, I'm pretty sure the guy who got the sponge price raised is probably a nice guy. And then I decided to make a snow golem slave labor army in the center of Bosnia to prove our kingdom's greatness. And honestly, this was my favorite part about the base. Bro, I love the snow golems, they were so funny. Now, granted, we did lose a lot of our buddies, a lot of our snow golems, and it was really sad, because I cried. I honestly considered leaving the server after his death, and quite frankly, guys, it was pretty fucked. I had a German visitor come to Bosnia. He got hit by lightning, apparently. Based? I was kind of getting depressed from making this wall for so long, and I decided that the best course of action would just to be getting lava buckets for expensive price of 200 gold each, and then just basically just making the wall with water and buckets. So it's kind of what I did. It worked out pretty well. We built the wall relatively quickly, but it did leave like this ugly lava and ugly water, so I didn't really like that a whole lot, but at the same time it was like I didn't really care about this base a whole lot either in terms of like what it looked like. So we had definitely accomplished something. I don't know what we accomplished, but we accomplished something. Decided to go on a great journey to basically build a secret base in the middle of nowhere in case I was attacked, because I had like 5 secret bases on this server. because I knew I was going to be attacked at some point, and with how little active I was on this server, I decided it was only a matter of time before, you know, I could be attacked. So I made like a lot of secret bases so I wouldn't lose any of my items. And I traveled with my horse. You know, we traveled a long way. And I got a fish, apparently. Very based. I decided to grind up more potions. The potion room was actually doing pretty good. We had a lot of potions, I'm not gonna lie. Like, we were popping off for a little bit there. I made a little coastal sea base along the Bosnian coastline, and this would actually be a pretty important base later on in terms of the war that would occur. We have visited the port of Among Us in Poland. And quite frankly, guys, this would be the beginning of the end. This would be the start of the biggest war in the server's history, I believe. You know, we did a little bit of trolling. Austria joined our side, and Poland's hopes and dreams were basically going downhill. Granted, though, we didn't even fight Poland. We went all the way out to Luxembourg to do a fight. I don't believe I have any photos of Luxembourg fighting, but I do have photos of the Battle of Berlin, and Berlin was basically the major fighting destination of this the server's history. After being defeated in Luxembourg, the troops rolled back to Berlin, where we went up against Deathcow and his troops in what can only be described as the largest war in PTR history. This war would be basically in the sugarcane fields of Berlin, and it would be a very hard war where it looked like we were going to lose for a little bit, but we did manage to come back. By using invisible potions, we managed to fight and keep the fighting going against Deathcow and his forces, leading them into the woods into retreat. But as players began getting off, the war would only get worse as it would hit Bosnia's base border. My secret base in the middle of nowhere luckily did protect all my items as I planned when I made my horse go all the way out to like some random island out in Greece. But after about, I think it was like 3 hours of fighting on this server, they had officially broken through the wall. I think I stole their banner, but they had broken through my wall. Bosnia was in very bad shape. We still had all of our stuff, so I guess it didn't really matter. But Bosnia had basically lost a lot, even though we still had like all of our stuff. Basically all that happened was that the interior of the base got fucked up a little bit. That was about it. Other than that, Bosnia was fine. Here was where they did the blast site. They barely made it through the wall. It took them like 3 hours to get through this fucking wall. Cause the vines too. Like you had to get through the wall. You had to get through like, I think I had like the vines. I had bamboo. I had glass, stone, like everything around that fucking base, bro. It's fucking crazy. So like it took them like a solid 3 hours to like walk over here, break through the base. And that's pretty impressive, so that is pretty cool. And it was like me up against like 3-4 guys, so I was doing pretty good here. Now in Bosnia fashion, you know, what would I do in this moment? I would make lots of invisible potions, and I would prepare my next attack. Went to the Roman capital. Their airship was pretty big. I tried to blast it. I did a couple shots here and there on it, but you know, that was going to take like 3 hours if I wanted to do something, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I raised the Bosnian colors above the Roman Colosseum, and I decided that this was pretty based, I'm not going to lie. And I got a pretty good screenshot if I can find it. Posing for propaganda pictures, I knew that this would be the beginning of my ban once more on the PTR server, but in Bosnia fashion, it made sense. I decided to visit the deadsea on my holy quest, and visit the church as I passed through the area. On the sea, I constructed a great flag for the Bosnian people, which would be pretty based, I'm not gonna lie. I basically turned the sea into a Bosnian flag. Many cannons into this base. I tried jumping on it to see if I could do anything. Basically, you know, not really a whole lot happened. But I decided at the end of my journey, I would gift the Germans in Berlin the remainder of my loot, because I knew I was going to get banned like the next day. So that was basically the end of PTR Season 8. What do you guys think? This video is kind of random, I know, but I'll see you all for the next one. Peace.